The second thing it showed that many of these jobs probably don't need to exist at all, because once people don't have to be supervised and managed a certain way, and you start really measuring what they produce rather than, where they are or how they behave, then there's whole layers of management that don't need to be there. The management layers that do need to be there probably need completely different skills and abilities in order to manage those type of people. And it also showed us with companies like NVIDIA, for example, that embraced remote work and distributed work, that you can produce the most sophisticated physical goods, hardware, remotely and through remote collaboration. So it's not just about, uploading videos to TikTok or answering customer service calls, but that you can do basically whatever you want. Now, what I saw even before COVID is not just that this was possible, because there are some companies doing that even before COVID, but that this is necessary. And this comes back to that nonlinear economy thing. So if you remember, around 2015, Amazon decided that it's going to start looking for a second headquarters, right? HQ2, and then they chose actually 2 different locations. At the same time, when it's all around 2015, other companies like Apple and Facebook and Stripe started splitting their headquarters as well to 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, to the uncurious eye, this looked like business as usual. Companies always had, headquarters, like offices and branches all over the world. But what was different here is that these companies were not opening these offices in order to sell to the local market. They were opening these offices in order to hire from the local market. Basically, they were telling us, I'm splitting my core activities into 2 and 3 and 4, and my employees are now collaborating remotely, even though they're in an office, because a trade-off was emerging between the value of in-person work, which is indeed valuable, and the need to tap into the largest possible talent pool in order to make increasingly specific and specialized matches between people that have very, very unique skills and backgrounds and tasks that are increasingly specialized. So as the economy becomes more specialized, these matches the return on these matches becomes larger and larger. Now, this theory of matching is the same theory that economists use to explain why the internet actually made economic activity more concentrated initially, why superstar regions like New York and Silicon Valley became more important between 1995 and 2015. They said because the economy is more dependent on innovation and knowledge work and creativity, these people are flocking into the largest possible labor pools because that's where companies can make those matches. But what the theory didn't take into account is that however large Silicon Valley or New York are, if companies can suddenly hire from a pool of 100 million or 500 million people, and they do that, they have an advantage. And companies showed us even before COVID that they have a need to do that now, that things are so competitive and specialized that they have to hire from that type of pool, which is obvious if you look at, again, entertainment or sports. The LA Lakers, they don't just hire people who live in LA. They hire people, they hire the best possible people from anywhere in the world. And when things become so competitive and so globalized, if you're unable to tap into the largest possible talent pool, you're falling behind. And again, and COVID started showing us that. But I feel like we're still stuck in a conversation where people see it as some kind of struggle between managers and the employees are lazy and they don't want to come back, or they're millennials, or they're Gen Z, or they don't have childcare, or whatever the reason. And of course, that plays a role. But the deeper driver is from the companies themselves. They depend now on hiring from anywhere. They're the ones who are not able to commit anymore to more than 2 years in advance to know even how many employees do they need, where are they going to be, what are they going to do. Basically, they have no clue what they're doing because this is the nonlinear world that we live in. Now, this, of course, has implications for everything, for how we invest, for our careers. To frame it in 2 terms that your viewers are surely familiar with, if Nassim Nicholas Taleb talks about black swans, for example, when he wrote it, 15 years ago or something, he was talking about rare events that have kind of an oversized impact. What I'm talking about is that the most predictable or repeatable way to produce things today is by producing these type of black swans all the time. That basically everything we produce is increasingly dependent on these type of dynamics. So it's not like things that happen every 5 years and ruin everything. It's like whatever you're doing today, you just have no idea what's going to come out of it. And you have to make bets in a completely different way. Another aspect of Taleb's work, which is relevant here, in the Black Swan, he also spoke about scalable and non-scalable occupations, where a scalable occupations like a music star, for example, you can make tons of money, but unless you're the absolute best, you make nothing. A non-scalable occupation, I don't know, a chiropractor, a prostitute, as Taleb gives as an example. Basically, your income is capped, but your downside is also limited. And in the past, you had a choice. You could try to become the next Taylor Swift, or you could become the local chiropractor. Today, part of what technology is doing, it's making all professions scalable. So a Peloton instructor, one of the most physical in-person jobs in the world, can actually service 1.5 million people. And he's not exactly a media star because he's doing it live. He's giving shout outs to people, just like the star on OnlyFans, which is, again, one of the most physical professions in the world. She kind of has a relationship, as one analyst put it, it's kind of a hybrid between a porn film and a girlfriend. And these are the type of things that are emerging now. So whatever profession you're in, you're no longer protected from competing against the very best in your field.